Record. All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming to class today. We're going to start seated, and if it's possible for you to sit up on a block comfortably, don't worry about it if you don't want to do it, it's okay. Um, but if you can sit comfortably up on a block, even if you do a block and then a blanket over that, as long as you don't slip. And then if it's possible to cross the legs at all. If not, again, don't worry if you're up on a block and you can't cross your knees here, just have the legs straight so that you could work with the spine and the pelvis a little bit. And then maybe move very purposefully, move the flesh out from the sit bones, and you're actually internally rotating the thighs a little bit. So I'm trying to draw that flesh down through the middle and then back out the other side, making lots and lots of room for the sit bones, for the pelvis to be really seated there. And then just feel your spine. I love sitting up on a block, whether it's in this position or hero pose, which is another option here, um, because we have a little bit more freedom with the spine, right? With the pelvis. So let's just start by sitting well and drawing the shoulders to the back body and drawing the neck in alignment with the rest of the spine. And feeling the weight of your body on whatever it's touching, the weight of the sits bones on the block, the weight maybe of the shins or the feet on your mat. Start to draw the breath in nice and deep and exhale it out. Good. Deep inhale. And a nice, long, complete exhale all the way down. And again. And then let your eyes open. Just roll those shoulders a little bit. We're going to play today with kind of a whole body class, but I did a yoga workshop yesterday and I want to play with just a few of those principles as well. Good. One more big circle and let that relax. Feel free to change out your legs at any point. Leave one hand down on your leg, take the other arm up and draw that up and then sit it back down in the shoulder and then draw the arm up really tall and drop back down into the socket. And one more and down and then reach up, but isometrically pull it back down and then come on over to one side. Now the hand can stay on the leg or it can come off to your mat. Watch the head, right? We're not dropping the head down to the shoulder. It stays parallel with the arm. Press down through the opposite hip. In fact, if your hand is on the mat, push that hand away a little bit to really ground the opposite side. And take both arms up. Exhale, both hands down. Roll your shoulders. Good. Same thing, other side. Take the other arm up. I want you to reach really tall and then sit it down. And when you set that arm down, it's like you're plopping it back into the shoulder joint. I want you to feel it sit there, like almost like the muscles around it get a little bit stronger. And then reach straight up and set it down. Good. Two more. Reach and down. Good. One more. Reach up and set it down. And then reach up, but then isometrically pull the shoulder blade down and then take that arm over and breathe. Always start, for me anyway, always start your side movements or any movement slowly. Like, all right, what's happening in my body this morning? What does it feel like? Am I scrunching up the shoulder of the hand that's on the floor? And then just softly push that hand away to ground the opposite hip a little bit more. Don't let the head sink. And inhale, reach up. Exhale, let it go. Roll the shoulders. We're almost done with this. Take both arms up. Press both down. You're going to feel that, right? The shoulder blades draw down and they almost kind of lock in place. And then reach, 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 and sink them down. Good. Reach them up and sink down. Hold here. Imagine you're holding a beach ball. Take those arms out to the side. Draw the shoulder blades down. Let the pinky fingers go up toward the ceiling. Big external rotation here. Breathe, soften the shoulders, feel them draw down your back, tone the belly in, and then just let them go, roll them out. Good. Straighten the legs for a moment. Don't let the back of the knees hyperextend. Easy to do when we're sitting up on a block. Fingers can either be down on the floor, they can just be wherever they're comfortable. Point and flex. Good. Just point and flex. Good. And point and flex. Good. Now flex your feet and tuck your head and just a little rounding of your spine. Flex both feet. And then straighten the spine and point the toes. Lift the chest. Good. Flex, round, tuck, and point, lift, reach. Good. Last one. Tuck and reach and release. And then see if you can come back to that cross-legged. Maybe you cross the other way, which always feels very strange. Find your pelvis, right? Find the pelvis and just start to rock a little forward and back. Forward and back. Just feeling what's happening as we move, as we try to establish the lumbar curve without over curving and without flattening. So it's almost like a little seated cat-cow or a seated pelvic tilt and tuck. The next time you have moved the pelvis forward, hold it right there. And then feel your back and see if you can feel how the spine, the lumbar spine, see if you can feel how the spine itself has just pressed in towards center a little bit and the muscles aren't on either side. And then take your shoulders up to your ears, roll them back and down, seat the shoulder blades, tone the belly, and then take both hands to both hip creases. Try to hang on to everything else you got going on there and just kind of, I don't know, get that hip crease really deep. It's almost like if you've ever had a cat and the cat kind of needs you, it does this with its paws. I'm sure Chloe doesn't do that, the dog. But just kind of snuggle it in, keep the hands there, keep the pelvic tilt and the belly tone, and then just start to take the torso forward, but don't let the head drop below the shoulders. Press the elbows back, keep going very deep in the hip creases, and then let the hands go, take them right in front of you. Breathe. So you're way at the forward end of the sit bones. Soften the shoulders, tone the belly, feel this really lovely, ideally lovely, neutral spine, and breathe. And then press all the way up. Nice job. Release those legs. Place your feet on the floor. You're still on your block. Now, I do want you to be mindful here, careful here. You're going to start to scoot toward the front of your block. And you can feel how it pushes or pulls the flesh of your glutes away, right? This is pleasant talk. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start to shimmy forward until I tilt slowly. Don't land hard. Tilt, tilt, tilt that block until your behind lands on the floor. That block is still there, but if it pops out, that's fine. And feel how you've just kind of moved all the flesh out and away from the glutes. And then reach back, grab your block, just set it to one side, bend one knee and bring it into your chest. Once that knee is up toward your chest, turn it out to the side. Feel free to use your block underneath the knee. And then this kind of same thing, I want you to tilt tuck a little bit. Just kind of where is it? It's much harder to do this tilt and tuck when you are on the floor. You have no movement, right? I feel like my chest is moving almost more than my pelvis. See if you can find the anterior tilt, which means your belly button is heading forward, your sacrum is heading back. The depth of this hip crease. Inhale, reach the arms up. As you swan dive, try to keep that. Try to sit that femur bone into the socket. Let the hands come down. Pull the shoulders back and down, right down the spine. See if you can find any space where that lumbar spine draws in towards center. Good. The foot is flexed. The leg is active. The long leg is active. Take a nice deep breath. Keep drawing the shoulders down the back, maybe a little bit of tone to the belly. And then only as your pelvis, your hips allow, you can take the torso forward. However, don't do this, right? Don't do that. Don't round, round, round. Don't worry about your knee. Don't worry about your head. Think about that spine. And then if it is I don't know which leg you have forward, but whichever leg is forward, take your other opposite hand to the outside of that foot and hold. Keep drawing the leg back into the hip. Find your breath, deepening that hip crease. Breathe. And release. Come on up. Straighten that leg. Shake it all out. Take the block to the other side. Move the flesh out from the sit bones. For some, you can even just kind of almost like hike one hip up, the other hip up. Flex the feet. Nice dandasana here. Press down through the heels. Hands to your sides. Press into both hands as if you could lift yourself up. Building strength here, building bone, building strength, weight bearing, and release. Same thing, other side. You're just going to bend that knee, bring it up, and then turn it out. Maybe you place a block there. If you were here, I don't know, class or two ago, I don't usually use a block, but I kind of like it. It lets this leg relax, this hip flexor relax, so that maybe I can find a little bit more forward movement. So again, just see, right? Can I find a little action here, a little tilt tuck of the pelvis? And then I'm going to go for the tuck, or the tilt rather, the anterior tilt of the pelvis. The hips are squared. The femur draws back in. Inhale, take it up. Exhale. It's a swan dive on purpose because I don't want to drop the chest. And then I'm going to take the hand down. And lo and behold, one side different than the other. This side is always tighter. And so I'm not going to go as low. I'm going to give it some space, some time. The foot is flexed. If you look at your calf muscle, it is square, right? Your foot's not out to one side or the other. Your kneecap is pointing straight up. The leg is still pressing in, even as I try to draw the pelvis forward. Shoulder blades down your back. Pause. And then take opposite hand to opposite foot or shin. I should have said that on the first side. Soften that shoulder hold. Breathe. Release that hand, press it all the way up. Release that leg, straighten it, Dandasana. Press through the feet. Breathe, take the arms up. Hold on to the beach ball. Lift the arms as high as you can. And then set those back down. Draw the femurs isometrically, the thigh bones isometrically, as if you could pull them back in space. Then tone the belly. You don't want an overarch, but you want a lifted chest. Exhale, release. Nice job, everybody. Shake all that out. Let's come on to our knees, hands and knees. Always and always, we always want to protect or just take care of our lovely knees. So if you want a little extra cushion, go ahead and do that. Have your blocks near the front of your mat. We're going to be using those in just a little bit. So plant the hands, and again, just do a couple of cats and cows, just a few. Go slow enough to stretch and lift, and then tuck in and lift. Good. The next time you were tucked during this round cat, hold there, but then look up with your head. Don't overdo. This should not hurt. And then release the head back down. Go into cow pose. Head is lifted. And then tuck the head. So you're simply changing the head position in a pose you do all the time. Bring the head back up. We're doing one more, both of those. Exhale, curl your spine. Really tuck the belly in and then lift the head. Lower the head. Release into cow. And then tuck just the head. Good. Nice neutral spine, everybody. Press the right leg back. Lift the right leg. Let's get some good motion there. Good engagement with the leg, the glute, the hip. And imagine you're going to squeeze that leg into center without actually doing it. Turn those toes to the outside and then press back with the hands to land the foot right behind your other foot. Basically. And then kickstand your left leg out, walk your left hand in, and come up to a little side. I don't know what this is called. I always call it quarter moon. Breathe. Take that top hand to your chest. Open up the chest. Imagine the tailbone pressing forward just a little bit and then extend the hand back up again. Deep breath. Now try to plant the pinky toe of your long leg. Try to reach that outside edge. Nice job, everybody. Release. Take those hands back to the floor. Take your knee back to the floor. Maybe drop back to your hips for just a second. And come on back up. I know, I said just a second, right? Take the left leg back, tone in through the belly, lift the leg. Find your balance. Engage the glutes. Engage everything. The shoulder blades draw down your back. Turn the toes of that left foot out to the side. And then push back away from your hands to just look. You can even look at your foot. Let it land so that the toes of your right foot are lined up with the arch of your back foot. And then kickstand your right foot out, adjust your right hand, turn to the side, lengthen through the lower back, and as if you could just press that tailbone forward a little bit. Take your top hand to your chest, open up the chest, and then extend out, finding the outer edge of your long leg. Big deep breath, everybody. Exhale, hand down, knee down. Readjust those hands, maybe puppy stretch or little very short child's pose. And come on up. Press the right leg back. Now I want you to think about the weight on your hands, on your shoulders. Press that weight away. Turn your toes to the side. plant that foot. We've been here already. Kickstand your left foot out. Adjust your left hand so that it will line up with the shoulder and take your torso up again. Lengthen through the tailbone and press the tailbone forward ever so slightly, and then maybe lift the long leg. Notice if you lose your pose, feel free to take the top arm up, press out of the floor with both the hand and the knee. If you press into the knee, that glute will get more active. Woo! Lower the foot, lower the hand. Release everything, a little child's pose. Excuse me. And in child's pose, I would suggest you flip those toes under, right? Stretch out the backs of your feet. All right, same thing, other side. I'm just going to turn it around. Tuck in through the belly. It's a neutral spine. Press the left leg back. So it's like the half of a balancing table. Push away from the floor. Turn the toes out. Drop the foot. Kickstand your right foot out to the side. Adjust the right hand. If you leave the right hand where it was, it may not be supportive. Press through the pinky side of that foot and feel as if the tailbone is pressing toward the center of the room just a little. When you're ready, lift the leg, flex the foot, take the other arm up, push yourself away from the floor with both your hand and the knee. Whew. Big deep breath, everybody. Release, hand down, knees down. Child's pose, hero pose, anything that feels really good to you. Good, breathe. And then come on up. Grab your blocks. You're going to take those blocks up at the highest level. Be mindful that they are tippy at this height, and then step forward with your right leg. So interesting, in the workshop, the teacher said, his name's Steve Weiss. He said that in a typical yoga class, we stretch the hamstrings 80% of the time and we stretch the quads 20% of the time. Like, no wonder we have such an imbalance there. So here we are on our left knee. The left quad ideally is stretching. I do want you to be mindful. I am not an advocate of just dropping that hip all the way through the hip joint. The back glute is active to help support that joint. And the back foot is pressing into the floor to also support that musculature. So just breathe. Soften the shoulders, draw the shoulder blades down. Try not to overly weight the hands on the blocks. Sometimes I'll walk the blocks forward a little bit so I can't depend on them. Breathe. And then slowly straighten the front leg. Hold on to that foot on the floor for a moment and then flex the foot. And feel free to sit back as far as you would like. I mean, not all the way to the floor, but if your knee can tolerate your hips going back further, go ahead and do that. And then inhale, bend the front knee, lift the chest, squeeze the left side glute, press the left foot into the floor. Exhale, let that go back. Breathe. And one more. Bend, lift, stretch. Feel the left thigh. Only if you want, bend the left knee. Woo, that will take that quad stretch into a little bit deeper and might get your hamstring crampy. Good. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Maybe point your toes. Ooh, release, release. Sink back. Hold here. And then fully release and switch sides. Ooh, feel that leg. So you'll notice also one side from the other. Usually your dominant side is tighter and stronger. So you may notice your dominant leg feeling a little bit tighter. So we pause, right? And I have a lot of flexibility here, and I could go really low, but I know from experience that this front part of the pelvis, this front part here, is not served, nor is the hip joint served from just dropping in, right? So we engage, we support the bone, we support the ligaments by engaging the opposing muscles. Soften the shoulders, watch for the weight on the hands, use your core, and then slowly but surely straighten the front leg. Keep the toes down for a second, and then flex the foot. Big deep breath, big stretch, and then slowly bend that knee, lift the chest, squeeze the back glute, and press the back foot into the floor, and release. Feel that. And bend, hold here. Open up the shoulders only if you want. Bend the back knee and maybe point the back toe. Ooh, high hamstring. Breathe. If your hamstring cramps, you can either hang out with it, it will dissipate usually, or you release the leg and it will dissipate. And release it, everybody. Squeeze it back one more time. Hold. And then bend the knee, listen up. Just set your blocks in front of you. Lift your back knee. Step back to downward facing dog. Watch your blankets. And once you're in down dog, just pedal that out. Ooh, maybe shake out the hips a little bit. Breathe. Inhale, tippy toes. Exhale, lower the knees. Just sink back for a half second toward the heels and then round it up. Release into a nice cow. Come back to neutral. Press the hips back. Find your breath. Notice. Imagine trying to reach the pinky toes toward the outer ankles, so making the inner line longer. Inhale, tippy toes. Slowly lower the knees. Optionally sit back for a second. Round it up. Release into a cow. Come back to neutral and your last down dog. Find your breath, pedal it out. And then if you have the room, take your feet outside your yoga mat, outside it. And breathe, hold the down dog in the upper position. Your feet are parallel to each other. And then walk those hands all the way back. You can move your blanket out of the way. And bend the knees. Come on up, everybody. Ooh, good job. Shake that out. And notice, right? Maybe notice how you feel. You know, I'm always like, where is everything? Right? Where are the hips? Where are the knees? Where's everything? Good. So stand nice, tall mountain pose and just roll your shoulders. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands to heart, little baby chair, tailbone long, chest tall. Take the arms up. Find your breath. Try not to let the knees drop into the middle. Imagine they're pressing out into imaginary walls. Breathe. And then drop those hands either to your shins or to the floor, forward fold. Bend the knees a whole bunch and lift the sit bones. And then see if you can straighten the legs. Breathe. Bend both knees, everybody. Start to look forward. Take your hands to your knees. Lift up through your chest. Find chair pose again. Breathe. Right? What works for you in your body? Imagine you're pressing out against a strap with the legs, or imagine squeezing a block. Or really tricky, imagine doing both. Bend the knees more. Press the hips back. Your hands are either going to go to the shins, so you're halfway, or the hands are going to come to the floor, forward fold. We have one more just like that. Bend the knees. Start to lift the head already. Take your hands to your knees. Draw the shoulders back. Take the arms up. Big deep breath. No pain in those low backs. You should be sitting back. If you have pain, you should be coming up higher. Last one. Woo, take it down. And breathe. Good. So you are at or near the floor. I want you to step one leg out and the other. And I realize probably everybody's facing forward except me. So turn sideways and come into a wide leg stance. Sorry about that. I realized I was the only one facing this direction. Ooh, good. And then press the inner thighs out. You could spread those inner legs out more. Press the legs out. And then imagine the upper thighs internally rotating. So I'm pressing out, but I'm also drawing the hip flexors deep, or the hip crease nice and deep. Press through the pinky side, spread the toes. Find your breath. And then turn the heels in. Bend the knees. Whew. Press those knees out. Take one hand to one knee, one hand to the other knee, and come on up. Whew. Well done, everybody. All right, so you're sideways on your mat. Turn those toes back forward so that they're parallel with each other. Maybe put the hands on the front hip bones, right? The as it's bones right there. You usually can feel them. And make sure the hips are centered. They're not cockeyed one way or the other. And then imagine taking your pinky toes and taking the pinky side of your feet off the floor. Ooh, breathe. Keep that nice length there and then spread the toes and the feet back to the floor. If you took your arms out to the sides, for many of us, the wrist lines up roughly with the ankles. Okay. If you're not that wide, don't worry about it. And then take your hands to your hips. Good. I want you to take your front foot. If I'm mirroring, it'd be your right foot. Turn the toes out. Turn the heel in. And then look at your front foot, and it should be straight forward. And then bend the front knee. Going to be here for a little bit. This is some of the workshop stuff that I learned yesterday. So the first thing I want you to play with is this front leg. Where is it? Right? You can see there's a lot of movement here. Can you press the knee out so that it points toward your pinky toe? Can you then lengthen through the back leg so that the glute and the leg are active and the pinky side is pressing down and the inner arch is lifting up? Mm-hmm. Now, where is your torso, right? Warrior two, super easy to come forward. I want you to take the front ribs and draw them back. Take both hands to your hips and poke your butt out back. I know it's going to seem really weird. Breathe. And then just see, you've got movement here with the front hip, right? It's got a little wiggle to it. So wiggle it and then wiggle it back, and then take the torso back up and draw up the zipper and take the arms out. And breathe. And notice the shoulders are soft. The legs are so active. The back glutes are both working here. Got it. Take your hands to your hips, straighten the front leg. Notice nothing in the hips have changed. Look at your front foot, square it to the very front edge of your mat. Look at your front knee, your front hip bone. All are lining up, right? Take the front arm out. Listen up. I'm not doing it to dip in. I'm doing this to get long at the side body. Get really long, really long. Poke the butt out a little bit, but press the tailbone in Drop that hand anywhere on the leg. Draw that shoulder back. Take your top hand to your chest and see if you have any rotation, any opening of the chest. And then extend the arm up. Here's triangle pose. Big deep breath. What's going on with the back leg, everybody? Can we breathe? Take that top hand to your top hip. Slide the other hand up. Go back to warrior two stance. Take the arms out. Bend the front knee. There you go, Brittany. Breathe. Press that knee out toward the pinky toe. And release. Woo. Turn those toes forward. Heel toe in just a little. And just shake out those hips. Good. Deep, deep hinge right here at the hip crease. I like to take my thumbs, put them right in the hip crease. Start to come down, but deep in the hip crease, as if my torso's going one way and my hips are going the other way. Keep that length and then let the hands come down. Find your breath. Where's the length in your spine? Can you feel if you are rounding? Can you release some of that rounding? Good. Hands or fingertips to the floor. Turn the heels in, hands to knees. Come on up. Woo! And just step those legs together. When we're wide for that long, it can go like, oh, you want to just like squeeze something. Good. Shake it out. Go back to your wide stance. We're going to do the other side. Again, if you want to kind of play measure, feel free to, but know that everybody's arms, legs are different lengths. So it does not always work that way. It should feel comfortable is really where I go. It should feel comfortable, no pain, and it should feel steady, right? You should be able to stand here, move your weight around and not feel like you're going to tip. All right, so press out, make the inner thighs wider. It's a really weird sensation. And breathe. Maybe lift off the pinky edges and then peel them back down. And then with it would be your left foot, heel toe, so that the front foot is pointing directly to the front of your mat, and then bend the knee. And just kind of notice, right, that knee should be pointing toward the pinky toe, the second to the either pinky or whatever that toe's called. I guess your ring toe, pinky. I know ring toe. I don't know what to call that. Good. And then feel the movement in your waist, right? Feel the back glute become active, right? So I'm not letting the back knee collapse. I'm not hyperextending it either, but I'm not letting it collapse. Press it out. And then just lean forward and kind of let the hips sink back and feel the hip crease, right? Get a little deeper and a little more movement as that front hip kind of rolls forward, rolls back. What I want it to do in this pose is to roll back almost like an isometric external rotation. And then I'll take the torso back up, move the front ribs away, and take the arms up. Spread the toes. If you're gripping, spread your toes. Find your breath. Just breathe. How does this pose feel? Drop the shoulders. Pull the shoulders toward each other a little bit, just a little bit. And then take your hands to your hips, straighten the front leg. Squeeze the back leg. Take the front arm out. Reach to extend, right? Triangle pose. We don't want the C curve. We want extension, and then let the hand come down. Now, if you feel your back, think about pressing the very bottom of that tailbone forward just a little bit. Open up the front chest and then extend the arms up. Breathe. You got it, everybody. Find your breath. Keep both legs active. Take top hand to top hip. Bend your front knee. Slide that arm up. Turn all your toes, heel toe in, and then heel toe in the rest of the way. Whoo, shake that out. Grab one of your blocks. Take the block between the legs. Squeeze. Whew. Notice, right? How does it feel? Grab your other block. See if it'll fit between the shins and hold both. Both of them in the same width. This one pretty easy for most of us. Breathe. Good, you're going to release. Just take the bottom block out. See if you can go wide, as high and as wide. Second width. This one harder. Grab your second width on your lower block between the calf muscles. See if you can hang on to it. If you can't, don't worry about it, right? This is, we're not going to join Cirque du Soleil doing this. Woo! Yes, feel that. Find your breath. So what are we doing? We're spreading apart those hip joints a little bit, not in a bad way, creating space. Now just try to relax it a little bit and feel almost an internal rotation of the groin, right, of the inner thighs as the tailbone releases a little bit. And then just feel your spine, right? Feel like, oh, right, I'm so upright right now. Oh, one more breath here. I know this is uncomfortable to say the least. And then release both. Whew. And feel that and bring your blocks back to the front of your mat. And just kind of, you can even like walk a little bit and maybe there's a little bit of freedom, a little bit of space there that wasn't there before. All right, so come up to the front of your mat. Your blocks are on your mat. We're in a forward fold, but the hands are on your blocks. And again, just try to create the space in the lumbar spine so that if you reach back, you can feel the muscles popping up around the spine just a little. And then bend the knees and step back with your right leg. You're coming into a high lunge. Look at both feet. I love this cue yesterday. I'd never heard it before. Look at your back foot. If you can see your heel, straighten your back foot so that you can no longer see your heel. I thought that was really cool. And breathe, and then feel the front hip and feel kind of the wiggle in the front hip. Imagine deepening the crease of the front hip while pressing into both feet. Take your hands to your knee, lift your chest, take the arms up, a simple high lunge here. Breathe. Notice if your back heel wanted to curl back in. See if you can stay right straight back. Breathe. Exhale, hands to your blocks, straight in the front leg. Breathe. See if you can keep your back foot relatively straight here. If it curls in a little, that's okay. But notice if the inner ankle of your back foot is really curling in. Nice forward fold here, variation of pyramid pose. See if you can lengthen your spine instead of curling. Bend your front knee. Turn your back foot to the side position, warrior two. Take both blocks. So your left foot is forward. Take both blocks toward the right. And I want you to press out the back hip. So again, it's just like, where's the movement here? If I bend my front knee and release my front knee, can I wrap? It's almost like, can I wrap that hip around? Press the knee out toward the pinky toe. Take your left hand to your left knee and reach up, warrior two. Breathe, lengthen if you need to, shorten if you need to. Find the breath, watch the front knee. Brittany, watch your front knee. Yep. Breathe, straighten the front leg. Lengthen the entire torso as if you could cartwheel down to find triangle pose. Big deep breath. Remember, if you feel any pinch in the lower back, I want you to press the tailbone, the base of that tailbone, forward slightly. See if that makes a difference. If it doesn't, you're probably too low. Bend the front knee, take your hand to your knee, extend out, and then cartwheel. Well, your blocks are still there, so cartwheel to the other side, straighten both feet, and step forward. Bend both knees, come on up. I'm just going to take my blocks to the other end. And just shake it out. Shake, shake. And stand tall in mountain pose and feel the glutes active, the outer hips active. Can we squeeze in through the outer hips and squeeze out through the inner thighs? How kind of weird is that, right? It's like, oh, what's happening? Good. And then shake that out. Come on back to the blocks. And release, forward fold, hands come to your blocks again. Maybe shake out the hips, maybe smile, breathe, and then soften the knees. On purpose, step back with your left foot, come into your lunge. You're going to look at your back foot. If you can see your back heel, straighten your back foot. Imagine lengthening the torso by deepening the front hip crease. And then take your hands to your knee, find your balance, squeeze the glute, arms come up. You're holding onto a beach ball. Breathe. How do we find a way to stabilize the joints, the major joints, the hips, the shoulders? Exhale, slowly lower those hands to your blocks. Straighten the front leg. Take a look at your back foot. Maybe you straighten it. Lengthen the torso over the front leg. Find your breath. Bend the front knee, everybody. Turn your back foot to the side position, getting ready for warrior two. Notice like my front ankle here likes to collapse in a little bit. So I'm going to just pull that inner ankle back a little. Take your left or your right hand to your right knee. Come on up, warrior two. Press the knee out toward the pinky toe. Draw this hip back. Reach down, grab your blocks, take them both toward the left side, and play with the movement of the hip. When that hip comes forward, the knee rolls in. When the hip rolls back, the knee rolls out, right? Just feel the kind of softness there, the play there. And then roll the hip back, tone through that belly. Take your right hand to your right knee. Warrior two. Good. Draw that front hip back a little. See? Yep. Breathe. The belly tones in. We've got a strong pose here. It's not going anywhere. And then straighten the front leg. Remember to stay long. Stay long in that pose. And then let the hand come down wherever. If your hand comes to your knee, above or below your knee, I'm super happy there. I'd rather see that than see a collapse of the underside ribs. Breathe. Can even play here. We didn't do it on the other side, but you can play with taking that arm, top arm over your ear. And reach up, hands down, turn your toes. Whoo. Hinge from your hips. You can use those blocks. They should be nearby or not. And breathe. If you're in a fuller forward fold, check the depth of the hip creases. Keep the back of the knee soft. Let the head hang. Some of you can reach for big toes and just hang on to your big toes, but be mindful of your spine. And then place your hands on the floor, heel toe in enough to get some purchase. Bend the knees. You can grab one block on the way up. Take the block long, take it between the thighs. Walk the feet in and give it a good squeeze. Sometimes it is in the details, it is in that little tweak of something that you go, oh, yeah, I feel that. That's kind of different. Kind of different. Good squeeze. Maybe the feet walk in one more. And as you squeeze the block, not overly, you feel how the inner groins roll back, the whole pelvis widens. Deep breath. Good. And let that go. Bring the blocks to the front of your mat. I'm not sure how much more we're going to use those. I said I was going to work shoulders, but so much for that idea. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, take it down. Plant your hands, step back to downward facing dog. Good. Pedal it out, everybody. Now, really plant the hands and engage the shoulders. Optional for you, I want you to barely lift your right foot. Just lift it off the floor as if you were going to pull that femur bone back in, and then internally rotate the foot and then raise the leg. Once the leg is raised, you can straighten the foot, even point the toes if you want, or flex. Lower it down. Same thing, other side. I just want you to lift it barely, like you just pulled it off the floor. Imagine bringing that femur bone right into the socket. And then internally rotate the leg. So turn the toes in, lift the leg, and then allow the leg to straighten. Again, you can point toes, you can flex. Lower that foot down. Come to plank pose. Here's our shoulder work. We'll do it real quick. You're in plank. I want you to take your left hand out. Take your right hand out. Breathe. Take your left hand in. Take your right hand in. Walk your left hand forward. Walk your left hand or right hand forward. Left hand back. Right hand back. Lower your knees. How's that? Shoulder work. And child's pose, everybody. Just rock it out. Good. Come on up to a seat. Release out of that. Feel free to sit up on a blanket, not super high, but your normal fold if you would like. And if you sit on the blanket, it is on the edge of the blanket so that once again, we pull the flesh back and away from the sit bones. Take the legs wide. Feel free to lean back and just a little windshield wiper. I've got to scoot forward a little. Yep. Internal, external rotation. Whew. Big deep breath. Next time the knees are to one side, pause. Take the back knee and walk it back if you can. Yep. And take the front leg forward. And then again, feel where your body is in space. And then turn toward the front thigh. and breathe. There's all kinds of ways you can do these legs. You can do it so that the thighs are parallel. Blankets throwing my hips, right? So that they're parallel to each other, one going straight out, one going straight back. That's one way to do it. You can go whatever feels good. So we're looking at turning that hip around, hands to the floor, maybe down to elbows. Just a nice little twist here, everyone. Ooh, big deep breath. And as you're ready, press up into your hands. If you're down on your elbows, release the twist, bring those legs back. Take them wide again and windshield wiper. Let the knees drop to the other side. Same thing, just find what feels right. Ideally, both knees are on your mat somewhere because the floor can hurt. And then we're turning that torso toward that front leg. And just pause with the hands there for now and see how that feels. Take a nice deep breath. And then if you still feel good, come on down to the elbows. That front hip drawing back slightly as the back hip draws forward slightly. Notice. And press up. And release. So you're going to grab both your blocks. We're almost done here, folks. And both blocks are just going to kind of go right around the center of your mat. And then you're going to come over this and come on down to your backs. Your feet are on the floor, your knees are bent. The blocks are there because we need them for in a minute. And they may have to change their spacing. You'll see when you get there. Take your feet to the, I guess, roughly hips width apart. And lift your hips and set them over to the left side. Just lift the hips and set them over to the left side. And then let both knees drop down to the right. Now, here's where these blocks come in. Some of you don't need a block there. Your legs feel fine. Some of you need a block there to control the descent, and it's either on low or on medium. And the same thing, if you feel a pinch in the low back or in the side joint, then you tuck that pelvis a little bit and imagine pressing the tailbone forward. So we're looking at the left thigh stretching. I have my block up on medium because my SIs don't like it when the leg's just hanging in space. But again, it's a twist. It's also a thigh stretch. I'm drawing the pelvis forward gently just to keep those hips in line. And then you can take the arms to cactus or to T position if you have the space. Back of the neck is long. Find our breath. Soften it down. Allow the stretch. And then one, you're going to stay here, or two, you're going to curl over to your right. So your right arm is cushioning your head, your leg is still resting ideally on a block. You're going to feel more of a hip stretch there, especially if you slightly tuck your pelvis. Breathe. And then again, only if you want, bend the knee, grab the foot. Keep the pelvis steady. Don't land in your lower back. And release back down. Turn yourself back onto your back. Ooh, and just pause. Maybe bring the left knee into your chest. And release. Since I knew I needed that little higher block on the left, I'm just going to raise my right block now. Same thing on this side. You're going to start by lifting the hips and moving them over to the right edge. And then lower the knees to the left and decide for you what you might need on this side. The biggest thing I see here and the biggest thing I experience is that little pinch in the SI joint. And so I don't go as low and I tuck. I draw the tailbone forward a little bit to see if that will release. And if not, shift your pose. Arms can go out to T position. Just hold here. Find your breath. So one, you're here, you're comfortable, you're happy. Two, you're going to roll to your left side and leave that leg, that long leg, the right leg where it is, and just see if you can find a stretch. Adjust as you need to. Again, my knee's being a little funky on this side, so I'm just going to straighten the leg instead. Got to trust your bodies, everybody. And then either you're there or you're just going to reach back, find the foot, press the hips forward even as the knee draws back. And release, come back to center. Whew. Just kind of kick your blocks to the side for now. Draw your right knee to your chest. Leave your left foot on the floor. Take your hands behind your head. Whew. Keep the head down, straighten your right leg straight out. And then as you come in, curl elbow to knee. And straighten, lower the head. Exhale, curl. Big curl in, everybody. And straighten, just three more. Pull, 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 slow. And release to left. Release. Last one. Straighten. And then put the right foot on the floor. Bring your left knee to your chest. Straighten it all the way out, hovering over the floor. And then 5 times, elbow to knee, squeeze, straighten, squeeze. Yep, you got it. And straighten. 3 left. Go slow, everybody. Squeeze it in slow. Release it out slow. That's 3. Inhale as the leg goes straight. Last one. Squeeze. And straighten. And then place the left foot on the floor. Release your hands. Bring both knees to chest. And as you're ready, let's find our Shavasana. If you would like these lovely blocks or your blanket underneath your knees or your thighs, feel free to move the blocks before you settle in. I love the blocks just underneath my upper thighs. It just feels really settling. The pelvis kind of settles down to the floor. But then relax the legs fully. Feel the front hip bones, feeling them nice and squared and even. Maybe even squeeze the legs, hips, glutes one time. And then let them settle. Relax those shoulders down to the floor, palms face up or at the belly. And start to let all of that go. The back body is nice and wide. The shoulders are nice and wide. You feel how neutral your spine is. Nothing is flat. You start to come back to the breath. Feel the soft rise and fall of the belly. And notice the different places that your body is touching the mat. You notice that your mind is settling on one particular thing. Just let it go. Instead, follow the breath. Soften down even more. Start to bring your attention back. Bend one knee and then the other. Place both feet on the floor. And just a few pelvic tilts and tucks here. And then draw one knee to your chest, the other knee to your chest. Hold on. Rock side to side. Allow the knees to roll over to one side. And then as you're ready, press all the way up. Whew. Inhale, reach all the way up. Exhale it to your heart. Roll the shoulders down and just bow to your own inner wisdom. Trust that wisdom, that voice, that knowing. Namaste. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Ooh. Thanks, everybody.